the day begins its slow surrender to the night. Over the hills that stretch beyond the walls of Rome, the last rays of the sun scatter across the land like threads of gold woven into a tapestry. The olive groves shimmer faintly in the glow, their silvery leaves catching the light before fading into shadow. A hush settles across the countryside, the kind that arrives when the day exhales and the earth prepares to rest. The warmth of the afternoon lingers still, carried on the stones of the road beneath your feet, though the air above is cooler now, touched with the breath of night. In the distance, you hear the faint murmur of farmers gathering tools, voices fading as they return to their homes. The empire stretches endlessly, yet here, in this quiet stretch of land, the world feels intimate, softened by dusk. The evening breeze as you walk along a narrow stone path, the evening breeze rises gently, brushing against your skin. It carries with it the perfume of wild thyme and rosemary growing along the edges of the road, mingling with the resinous scent of tall cypress trees. Somewhere nearby, vines sway, heavy with ripening grapes, their sweetness thick in the night air. The soundscape shifts with the fading light. Cicadas begin their song, a steady rhythm pulsing from the shadows. A lone night bird calls once, its voice carrying far in the stillness. Even the soft crunch of your sandals against gravel feels part of this orchestration, a quiet beat in the music of twilight. Each sound reassures you, grounding you in the present, reminding you that night in the Roman countryside is not empty. It is alive, tender, and calm. The first stars above you, the sky deepens, turning from blue to violet and then into a rich, endless indigo. One by one, the stars appear, scattered like pearls across the heavens. They shine faintly at first, then brighten, steady and sure, as if guiding you toward rest. You pause for a moment, breathing slowly, letting the vastness of the night sky settle into you. From this distance, the glow of Rome is visible, a faint shimmer on the horizon, born from countless lamps, hearths, and torches flickering in the capital. But here, beyond the city, the land breathes more slowly. Shadows grow long across the fields, and the countryside belongs not to noise or empire, but to silence. You feel as though you've stepped outside of time, into a space meant only for reflection and peace. The distant villa ahead, you see the silhouette of a villa rising from the land. Its shape is familiar, arched doorways, terracotta roof, and walls washed in pale white. Even from a distance, it stands like a beacon of tranquility. Torches glow faintly at its gates, their flames swaying gently in the breeze. The walls catch the last breath of daylight, holding it for a few moments longer before surrendering to the moon. You imagine the life within the family at rest, servants moving quietly, the sounds of the day fading into soft murmurs of night. The villa is not merely a house, it is a world unto itself, a sanctuary built to hold both history and stillness. With every step closer, the promise of calm grows stronger, like the warmth of a hearth calling you home. The road to rest, the path bends, lined with low stone walls, and you follow it with unhurried steps. Each pace is steady, each breath deeper than the last. The air is gentle now, neither warm nor cold, but balanced, perfectly suited for night's embrace. You feel the quiet rhythm of your body aligning with the rhythm of the land. Slow, steady, unhurried. A sense of anticipation builds within you, not of excitement, but of rest. Soon you will step beyond the gates, into the heart of the villa, into rooms where water flows softly, where mosaics tell silent stories, where gardens breathe under moonlight. The world is guiding you towards stillness, one step, one sound, one breath at a time. The embrace of night at last. Night has fully claimed the countryside. The hills lie in shadow, the sky glitters with starlight, and the earth exhales cool air. The villa waits ahead, welcoming yet timeless, as though it has stood through countless evenings like this one, always ready to offer shelter and calm. You pause for a final glance at the land around you. The fields, the trees, the distant shimmer of Rome, all fade into a single impression of quiet beauty. You feel the weight of the day release from your shoulders, replaced by a gentle lightness. This is the threshold between waking and dreaming, between history and rest. And with that you step forward, ready to enter the world of the Roman villa, ready to let its silence and stories guide you deeper into the night. The path narrows as it bends toward the gates of the villa. The cypress trees grow taller here, rising like silent guardians, their pointed crowns etched against the star-filled sky. Their dark silhouettes sway faintly in the evening breeze, rustling like whispers of an ancient lullaby. You slow your pace, savoring the approach, each step bringing you closer to the stillness waiting beyond. At the edge of the path, the land seems to pause. The sounds of the countryside soften, the chirping of crickets more distant now, the faint calls of birds quieting into silence. What remains is the steady rhythm of your own footsteps and the gentle movement of the wind through the trees. Ahead, the villa gates glow softly with torchlight, beckoning you like a warm flame in the quiet night. The bronze doors, the gates stand tall, framed in stone, their bronze surfaces darkened with age. They are decorated with patterns of vines and leaves, worked into the metal by patient hands long ago. In the flicker of the torches, the patterns seem almost alive, curling and unfurling like real branches in the night air. You pause before them, letting your eyes trace the shapes, feeling their quiet elegance. The metal is cool beneath your hand, carrying the memory of countless evenings, countless arrivals and farewells. These gates are not merely a barrier, but a threshold, a line between the world outside and the stillness within. You feel the weight of history resting here, as if every visitor who has stood before these doors has left a fragment of their presence in the bronze. The flicker of light torches burn on either side of the entryway, their flames bending with the breeze. The smoke drifts upward in soft ribbons, carrying with it the faint scent of olive oil. Each flicker throws patterns across the stone walls, creating shapes that shift and dissolve as quickly as dreams. You listen, and for a moment, the sound of fire fills the air, the low, steady hiss of oil-fed flames. It blends with the distant rustle of leaves, forming a melody of warmth and peace. The light feels alive, as if it were keeping watch over the gate, ensuring that whoever enters steps not into darkness, but into a space protected by warmth and glow. Crossing the line, the gates yield easily when touched, swinging inward without protest. They move with a soft sigh as though the villa itself were breathing you inside. No harsh creak, no resistance, only the quiet welcome of a place long accustomed to gentle arrivals. As the gates part, a new stillness opens before you. The air within is cooler, carrying the faint scent of stone and water, mingled with rosemary planted near the walls. It feels different from the countryside beyond, not less alive, but more contained, more focused, as though the villa gathers the night into itself and holds it close. You step across the threshold, leaving behind the open hills and olive groves. Behind you, the world fades into shadows, while ahead, the villa glows with promise. The courtyard beyond the first space you see is not a hall but a courtyard, open to the sky yet embraced by walls. Torches flicker along the stone path, guiding your eyes inward. The marble glows faintly beneath the firelight, polished smooth by years of footsteps. In the center, a small basin catches your attention. Its water reflects both torch and star, rippling gently in the night breeze. The sound of it, a faint trickle, a soft drip, echoes just enough to remind you that life flows here even in silence. The courtyard feels like an antechamber to another world, one where time slows, where the weight of empire fades, and where only calm remains. The pause before entering, you stop for a moment to take in the scene. The gates stand open behind you, the countryside now distant, the villa before you glowing with quiet life. Columns rise around the courtyard, steady and silent, their shadows reaching across the ground like long fingers. The air is hushed, almost reverent, as though the villa were waiting for you to breathe, to settle, to join in its rhythm. There is no hurry. The journey inward is not a march but a drift, each step slower, each thought softer. Here, between the world outside and the heart of the villa, you linger in a space of pure transition. The body remembers its path, but the mind begins to loosen, unwinding from the day, preparing to sink into the deeper silence that lies within. Into the heart at last, you take a step forward, moving from the gates and into the deeper corridors beyond. The villa does not overwhelm you with grandeur, but with stillness. Every wall, every stone seems to hold the night with care, preserving its quiet like a sacred offering. The gates close softly behind you, sealing away the outside world. Within these walls, the night belongs only to you. The journey has only just begun, yet already, the weight of the day has fallen away. You are welcomed not only into a villa, but into a sanctuary, a place where rest and history meet, where the night itself is an embrace. From the courtyard, a wide doorway leads you further inward, until you step into the very center of the villa, the atrium. At first you pause, letting the stillness of the place surround you. The atrium is open to the sky, a square of night framed above by strong beams of wood and marble columns. Through the compluvium, the opening in the roof, the stars gaze down, reflected below in a pool of water. The air here feels cooler, softer. It carries the faint scent of damp stone mixed with oil from nearby lamps. The transition is immediate and powerful. Outside the world is vast, but here everything draws inward, gathered into this sacred space of the home. The impluvium's calm. At the atrium's center lies the impluvium, a shallow rectangular pool designed to catch rainwater. Tonight, its surface is still, touched only by the breath of a gentle breeze drifting down through the opening above. The water reflects the starlight and the flame of nearby lamps, turning the pool into a mirror of both heaven and earth. You step closer, listening. Each faint ripple whispers as it touches the marble edge, a soft, rhythmic sound that carries through the hall. It is as though the villa itself breathes through this water, slow and patient. The reflection pulls at your mind, calming it, as if each shimmer erases a thought. Each ripple softens the weight of the day. The surrounding columns around the pool, tall columns rise in quiet symmetry, supporting the weight of the roof. Their surfaces are cool and pale, veined faintly with patterns like threads of smoke frozen in stone. By torchlight, the columns cast long shadows across the floor, weaving patterns that shift as the flames move. Between them, frescoes decorate the walls. Scenes of gardens, gods, and geometric shapes painted in faded reds, ochres, and blues. Though softened by time, the images still carry life, as if whispering ancient stories to anyone willing to pause and look. Their colors glow in the flickering light, not loud or bold, but steady, carrying the weight of centuries. Echoes of footsteps, you take a few steps across the polished floor. Each movement produces a gentle echo that lingers a moment before dissolving into the stillness. The sound feels deliberate, ceremonial, as though every step across this space is part of a ritual of entry. The marble beneath your feet holds the memory of countless footsteps before yours, generations passing, each one leaving behind only the soft impression of sound, now layered into silence. It feels as if the villa listens to you. Not intrusively, but attentively, like an old friend watching in stillness as you find your place in its embrace. The household presence in one corner of the atrium, a small lamp burns before a shrine to the household gods, the Lares and Penates. Their tiny figures stand in alcoves, guardians of the home. The flame flickers gently, casting soft halos of light across their faces. The presence of this shrine is subtle yet powerful, grounding the villa in reverence and care. You breathe slowly, letting your eyes linger on the gentle light. The flame feels protective, reassuring, as though it blesses your steps into the deeper spaces of the house. Its glow combines with the water's reflection and the starlight above, weaving together the elements of earth, fire, and sky in perfect harmony. A place between worlds, the atrium feels like a bridge between the outside and the inner heart of the villa. It is neither entirely open nor entirely closed. Here, the sky is visible, yet the walls hold you close. The air is fresh, yet touched with the warmth of the home. It is a place of balance, designed for gathering, for breathing, for remembering that life itself is held in stillness as much as in motion. You linger for a while, breathing with the rhythm of the space. Every sound, the water's ripple, the fire's hiss, the echo of footsteps, moves together like instruments in a quiet orchestra. The silence is not empty, but full, layered with subtle music meant to soothe, meant to guide. Moving onward, when at last you move toward the far end of the atrium, you feel lighter, as though you've shed something here. The weight of the world outside has grown faint, replaced by a calm clarity. The villa seems to welcome you deeper, each corridor promising new stillness, new whispers of history, new spaces where night can rest. Behind you, the water still reflects the stars. Ahead, the peristyle garden waits, where moonlight will fall upon leaves and statues, where night breathes among flowers and stone. You take a final glance at the atrium, letting its harmony settle into you. Then, with slow and gentle steps, you move forward, deeper into the villa's embrace. Leaving the atrium behind, you follow a quiet passageway lined with frescoes faded by time. The air grows cooler as the corridor bends, and soon it opens into the villa's peristyle, a hidden garden at the very heart of the home. At once, the night expands again, the sky revealed above in a perfect square framed by marble columns. Moonlight pours down like liquid silver, illuminating the space in a soft, ethereal glow. The contrast is gentle but clear. The atrium was enclosed, a chamber of balance and water. But here, in the peristyle, the air breathes freely, mingling with the living sense of earth and leaf. You pause at the threshold, letting your eyes adjust to the shimmering stillness before stepping inside. The moonlit garden. The garden stretches quietly within its colonnade, planted with laurel, myrtle, and fragrant roses. Their blossoms are pale under the moonlight, their perfume subtle yet distinct. The air carries hints of jasmine and cypress, weaving a soft tapestry of scent that soothes the senses. At the center of the garden lies a fountain. Water spills gently from the mouth of a carved stone nymph, falling into a circular pool below. The sound is delicate, a steady murmur that blends with the whisper of leaves stirred by the night wind. Together they create a rhythm that feels timeless, as though the villa has always held this gentle music. The pool mirrors the heavens above, each star doubled in reflection. The ripples bend the light into silver waves, as if the night sky itself were breathing upon the water. Statues in stillness around the fountain, statues stand watch in perfect stillness. A marble Apollo leans lightly upon his lyre, frozen in eternal music. A small figure of Venus, graceful and serene, gazes upon the pool. Their white stone surfaces glow in the moonlight, softened by centuries yet still carrying the dignity of their forms. You walk slowly among them, your footsteps barely a sound upon the mosaic paths. The statues do not move, Yet they hold presence, as if listening, as if acknowledging your quiet passage. They remind you that the Romans filled even their gardens with memory, with gods, with myths, with symbols meant to bless and protect the home. The columns and shadows, the marble colonnade surrounding the garden is both boundary and embrace. Each column rises tall, smooth and pale, their shadows falling long across the path. The torches set upon them burn with low flames, their light mingling with moonlight, producing a harmony of glow both warm and cool. As you walk beneath them, you feel the space shift between open and enclosed. One moment you are under the sky, the next beneath the colonnade's shelter. This rhythm of movement calms the mind, as though the garden were teaching you to move slowly, to rest between earth and sky, shadow and light. The voices of night beyond the walls, cicadas sing faintly in the distance, joined by the soft hoot of an owl. Their sounds filter gently into the garden, never harsh, never loud, but woven into the night's texture. You close your eyes for a moment and listen. The fountain, the breeze, the cicadas, the owl, each sound joins into a single chorus of stillness, guiding you deeper into peace. When you open your eyes again, the stars seem brighter. The moonlight seems gentler. You realize that this garden is not only a place of beauty but of rhythm. The Romans designed such spaces to echo nature's harmony within the safety of the home, so that even in the heart of stone walls, life would bloom and the sky would speak. The path of rest, you follow the path that winds around the pool, each step slow, each breath deeper than the last. The mosaics beneath your feet show patterns of vines and birds, their tiny tesserae glinting faintly by torchlight. Though worn by time, they still hold the artistry of patient hands, each stone placed with care. As you walk, you sense the villa itself guiding you. Every design, every corner seems meant to soothe, to remind you of order, of harmony, of the natural rhythm of day surrendering to night. The peristyle is not only a garden, but a lesson in calm. A space where the world becomes simpler, quieter, clearer. A pause among flowers at last, you sit upon a low marble bench near the roses. Their fragrance rises with the night air, sweet yet soft, a perfume that lingers but does not overwhelm. The blossoms shift gently in the breeze, petals trembling as if whispering secrets only the night can understand. You breathe slowly, letting the scent, the sound, the light all blend together. The fountain murmurs. The roses sigh. The moon watches. And you feel the boundary between waking thought and dream blur, dissolving into quiet. Toward the shrine at the far end of the garden, a faint glow beckons from a small alcove. There, among the columns, lies a shrine to the household gods. Its light is soft, steady, a promise of protection. You rise slowly, following the mosaic path toward it, carrying with you the garden's calm. With each step, you leave behind the fountain's music, the rose's perfume, the statue's stillness. Yet they remain with you, folded into memory, woven into the night. Ahead, the shrine glows brighter, and the journey deeper into the villa continues. The shrine appears at the far end of the peristyle garden, nestled between two tall columns. A faint golden glow draws your attention. It flickers softly, steady and patient, as though waiting for you. You step closer and find a small shrine, the lararium, the sacred place where the household honors its guardian spirits, the lares. The shrine is built into an alcove in the wall. Tiny oil lamps burn before it, their flames swaying gently with the night's breath. Painted upon the plaster, delicate yet vivid, are images of the spirits themselves, slender figures in flowing robes, each holding a drinking horn, symbols of blessing and abundance. The air is different here, stiller, almost reverent. Even the night sounds outside the colonnade seem to pause at the threshold, as if unwilling to intrude upon the presence of the lares. Offerings of gratitude before the shrine rests, simple offerings, bowls of fruit, small cups of wine, a wreath of fresh laurel leaves. These gifts are not extravagant but heartfelt. In every Roman home, the lares were honored daily, for they were thought to guard the household, the family, the hearth, and the very ground upon which the villa stood. You notice a carved figurine, a tiny clay statuette of a dog placed near the lamps. Its form is rough but expressive, a symbol of loyalty and protection. Someone, perhaps earlier this very evening, has left it here as a token, a reminder that guardianship comes in many forms, both divine and earthly. The offerings speak not of wealth, but of continuity. Each gift is a thread connecting the living with their ancestors, with the spirits that dwell unseen, with the endless chain of time that binds all who walk through these walls. The quiet rituals, imagine, for a moment, the family gathered here at dusk. The paterfamilias, the head of the household, leading the prayer. The children holding small lamps, their faces glowing with awe as the flames flicker in their eyes. The mother placing fruit upon the altar with a slow, careful hand. The slaves and freedmen standing nearby, silent yet included in the home's sacred rhythm. The words would have been simple thanks for protection, requests for peace, prayers for the health of those within the villa. Perhaps incense would have been lit, its fragrant smoke curling into the night air. Perhaps a few drops of wine would have been poured upon the ground, an offering to mingle with the earth itself. Tonight, the ritual is long finished. The family sleeps within their chambers, their voices hushed. Yet the shrine glows still, keeping its vigil. You feel as though the Lairs watch over you as well, extending their silent guardianship to all who step within the garden's embrace. Symbols and memory, the paintings upon the shrine wall catch your eye. They show two youthful figures dancing, their movements captured in flowing lines of red and gold. Between them stands a tall, serpent-like form, not menacing but protective, a spirit of the household's prosperity. This imagery was common in Roman homes, each shrine unique yet bound by tradition. Nearby, faint traces of older paint linger, faded by years yet still visible. Perhaps the villa's ancestors painted these first, and later generations refreshed the colors, layer upon layer. The shrine is not only a place of worship but of memory, a living canvas of devotion renewed across centuries. You run your gaze over the worn edges of the fresco, imagining the hands that brushed these lines, the lives that once stood here in reverence. Their hopes, their worries, their dreams, all whispered into the same quiet flames that now flicker before you. The presence of stillness, a hush settles as you linger at the shrine. The torches in the colonnade seem distant now, their light softer, their sound quieter. Here, in this small corner of the villa, the world feels condensed into a single point: the flame, the offering, the painting, the silence. The air carries a faint scent of olive oil from the lamps, warm and grounding. The flames reflect in the polished surface of the mosaic floor, their light trembling like a second set of stars. You breathe slowly, letting the calm enter your chest, filling your thoughts with quiet. The shrine becomes more than stone and paint. It becomes a presence, watchful, patient, protective. The echo of ancestry. The Romans believed that alongside the Lairs dwelled the spirits of their ancestors, ever present within the home. Standing here, you can almost sense them, not as ghosts to fear, but as quiet companions, their memory woven into the villa's very foundations. Perhaps they watch with gentle pride, seeing the home they built endure, their descendants sheltered beneath its roof. Perhaps they listen, offering counsel that cannot be heard but can be felt, a subtle assurance that the family is never alone. This thought deepens your sense of rest. To be cared for by generations unseen, to walk within walls watched over by spirits both divine and familial. It is a comfort beyond words, a reminder that safety and peace are part of something timeless. The path beyond. At last, you step back from the shrine, leaving the Lairs to their eternal vigil. The golden light fades behind you, but its presence lingers, folded into your memory like the faint glow of a dream. Ahead, another corridor leads away from the peristyle. Its passage seems to beckon you deeper into the villa, toward chambers where daily life once stirred and where night now wraps all in stillness. As you walk, the hush of the shrine follows you, its calm blending with the sound of your footsteps. The villa feels gentler now, as though its spirits have acknowledged your presence and welcomed you into their watchful care. Beyond the shrine of the Lairs, a wide doorway opens into the triclinium, the dining hall, the heart of hospitality in a Roman villa. The threshold is framed with carved marble, its edges softened by time, but its dignity remains. As you step inside, the air shifts. It is cooler here, with the faint scent of wine lingering in the plastered walls, a memory of feasts long past. Moonlight streams through high windows, spilling across the floor in pale ribbons. The hall is spacious, its proportions designed to impress as much as to comfort. The silence is thick but not heavy. It feels like the gentle pause after laughter, the hush that follows music when its final note has faded. The arrangement of couches along three sides of the room, you see the couches, lecti treclinary, where diners once reclined. Their wooden frames gleam with dark polish, their cushions upholstered in faded patterns of red and green. Tonight, no guests lounge upon them, but you can almost imagine the scene: men in flowing togas, women in fine stolas, reclining gracefully as slaves served trays of food and goblets of wine. Each couch could hold several guests, positioned so that all could face the low table at the center. The arrangement was not only practical but symbolic, a geometry of fellowship designed for conversation and shared enjoyment. Even now, the pattern holds a quiet symmetry, as though waiting for voices to return. Echoes of feasting. At the center lies the table, broad and sturdy, carved from dark wood. Its surface holds faint traces of use, scratches from dishes, worn places where hands once rested. You imagine it laden with delicacies, roasted meats, baskets of fresh bread, olives glistening with oil, figs and dates arranged like jewels. Amphorae of wine poured freely, their scent mingling with the aroma of herbs and honey. Though the table is bare tonight, its memory lingers. You can almost hear the clink of cups, the rise and fall of conversation, the sudden burst of laughter. A flute's melody might have threaded through the air, accompanied by the rhythmic clap of hands keeping time. In your mind, the still room stirs with echoes, warm, vivid, and fleeting. The painted walls, your eyes lift to the walls, where faded frescoes stretch in panels of deep red and golden ochre. Despite their age, they still shine with elegance. Here painted vines curl upward, bearing fruit that seems almost tangible. There mythological scenes unfold, Apollo strumming his lyre beneath a laurel tree, Venus rising from the sea upon a shell, a satyr chasing a nymph through painted woodland. These images were more than decoration. They were invitations to dine not only with food but with imagination, to feast among gods and myths, to let the eye wander into stories while the tongue savored wine. The flickering lamps of banquets past would have made the figures dance in the shifting light, their colors alive, their shapes elusive. Tonight, they watch in silence. The gods upon the walls are patient, eternal witnesses of both feasts and quiet. Their painted eyes meet yours, serene, welcoming, timeless. Music of the night, the room has its own music now, different from the feasts of old. A soft draught stirs the curtains near the high windows, making them sway gently like the plucked strings of a harp. Somewhere outside, the distant song of a night bird drifts in. The faintest echo of dripping water reaches you, perhaps from a fountain beyond the hall. These sounds weave together into a lullaby, subtle and calming. The dining hall, once alive with voices, now sings a gentler song, one meant not for revelry but for rest. Its music is the music of memory, of quiet, of night itself. The presence of absence. As you linger, you begin to notice that the emptiness of the triclinium is not barren but full. It holds the afterglow of countless evenings, the warmth of fellowship that does not fade even when the guests are gone. The couches stand ready, the frescoes glow faintly, the table waits. It is as though the villa breathes in two rhythms at once, the lively pulse of feasts long past, and the deep, steady calm of the present night. Both coexist, layered together, giving the hall a richness that cannot be seen but only felt. This awareness deepens your calm. You, too, are part of this rhythm now, an unseen guest at the banquet of stillness, welcomed into the hall's embrace. Walking the room, you cross slowly from one side of the hall to the other, your footsteps softened by the mosaic floor. Patterns of tiny tiles form geometric shapes beneath you, their symmetry echoing the arrangement of the couches. The floor feels cool beneath your feet, grounding, steady. Pausing near the central table, you rest your hand upon its edge. The wood is smooth, worn by generations of touch. For a moment, you close your eyes, and it feels as though you are sharing in the continuity of all who have dined here. Their joys, their stories, their laughter. The hall has gathered them all, and now it gathers you, enfolding you gently into its timeless circle. The exit toward rest. At last, you move toward the far end of the triclinium, where another doorway leads into the deeper chambers of the villa. Before you pass through, you glance back. The moonlight still spills across the floor. The frescoes still glow in quiet colors. The couches still rest in waiting silence. And for a moment, it seems as though the room nods to you, its emptiness acknowledging your presence, its calm blessing your path. You step through the doorway, carrying with you the peace of the triclinium. Ahead lies the promise of new discoveries, new quiet corners of the villa waiting in the night. From the echo of the triclinium, you step quietly into a narrow corridor that leads deeper into the villa. Here, the air grows stiller, cooler, and more intimate. The walls close in slightly, and the torches that once would have lit the way are long extinguished, leaving only moonlight to soften the passage. This is the path toward privacy, toward the cubiculum, the bedrooms where the villa's inhabitants once sought rest. Your footsteps slow instinctively, for the hush of this wing invites reverence. The sounds of the outer villa fountains, distant birds, whispers of leaves, grow faint, leaving you wrapped in a gentle cocoon of silence. The entrance to the first cubiculum, a modest wooden door, stands slightly ajar. Its hinges creaking softly when nudged. You step inside, and the space welcomes you with its simplicity. Unlike the grand rooms of the atrium or triclinium, this cubiculum is small, reserved, almost humble. Yet within its walls lies the heart of human life, the need for rest, for renewal. The room is square, its plastered walls painted with modest frescoes in faded ochre and soft green. The images are not grand myths but tender motifs, garlands of ivy, birds in flight, delicate flowers. They whisper not of glory but of quiet joy, of the serenity that belongs to the night. The bed of rest. Against one wall rests a low bed, framed in wood, its surface covered with linen that time has thinned. Once, it would have been spread with woolen blankets, perhaps dyed in earthy tones, a pillow stuffed with feathers at its head. Tonight, it stands empty, yet it seems almost alive with memory. You can imagine the rustle of fabric as someone lay down, the weight of the day slipping gently from their shoulders. Perhaps it was a senator, returning from hours of debate. Perhaps it was a child, weary after play in the courtyard. Or perhaps it was a guest, lulled by wine and conversation. The cubiculum does not reveal who slept here, only that many did, and that each found in its embrace a moment of peace. Shadows and light. The moon finds its way through a small square window high on the wall, casting a silvery patch of light across the floor. The beam glances off the walls, softening their painted garlands, making them glow like faint lanterns. Shadows pool in the corners, deep and velvety, cradling the room in a balance of light and dark. The rhythm of night plays upon the space, the slow shifting of shadows, the quiet breathing of the villa itself. It is as if the room exhales, then inhales, a steady rhythm meant to lull and calm. Echoes of intimacy. Though the cubiculum is silent, you sense the traces of whispered conversations, once shared in its secrecy. Lovers murmuring to one another after feasts. A mother telling a story to her child. A traveler's prayer before surrendering to unfamiliar dreams. Each wall, each shadow holds fragments of these private moments. They linger softly, not intrusive, but like gentle echoes in the air. In their presence, you feel both the fragility and the constancy of human life, its need for connection, its desire for peace. The furnishings of simplicity. Near the bed, a small chest rests against the wall. Once, it might have held garments folded neatly, or jewelry, or tablets for writing. Its wood has darkened with age, but the outline remains, steady and humble. Beside it, a lampstand rises, its surface marked where flames once flickered. You imagine the glow of oil, fed light, its flame small but sufficient, filling the room with golden warmth. In the quiet, it is easy to picture the final gesture of the day, a hand leaning forward to snuff the flame, the soft smoke curling upward as darkness closed in. The second cubiculum. You step back into the corridor and move on, passing into another chamber. This one is larger, more ornate, reserved perhaps for a master or honored guest. Its bed is framed with bronze fittings and the frescoes are richer. Scenes of pastoral calm, shepherds with flocks, rivers winding between painted hills. A faint breeze enters through its larger window, carrying the scent of night blooming flowers from the villa gardens. The fragrance mixes with the cool stone air, creating an atmosphere of tranquil luxury. Here rest was not only necessity but art, curated with beauty to soothe the spirit. Breath of the villa. In these rooms, you realize, the villa itself seems to breathe alongside its occupants. Its walls held their sighs, its floors carried their footsteps, its windows welcomed their dreams. The cubiculum was not merely shelter, it was companion, confident, silent witness. Tonight, it welcomes you as well. It offers not its history of grandeur, but its quiet promise of renewal. Within these walls, the burdens of day fall away, replaced with the stillness of night. The invitation of sleep. You pause before one of the beds, letting the stillness enfold you. The silence is like a blanket, the shadows like soft pillows. You sense how easy it would be to close your eyes here, to drift into slumber beneath the painted vines and flowers, carried into dreams by the same timeless peace that soothed Roman hearts centuries ago. The villa invites you to imagine yourself as part of its nightly rhythm, a traveler who has found safe harbor, a guest who has been given not only food but rest, a soul allowed to lay down its burdens. Leaving the chamber slowly, you turn back toward the corridor. The cubiculum fades behind you, yet its serenity lingers in your heart. The rooms, with their quiet dignity, have gifted you a sense of calm, a reminder that rest is eternal, shared by all who live and dream. As you step once more into the villa's hallways, the hush of the bedrooms follows you, wrapping you in a gentle calm. The night stretches ahead, promising more secrets, more moments of quiet wonder. You walk on, carrying with you the tranquility of the cubiculum, as if the villa itself has laid its hand upon your shoulder, blessing your journey with rest. From the hushed intimacy of the kitchen passage, you emerge once more into open space. A wide doorway of columns parts before you, and suddenly the villa unfolds into its most delicate treasure, the peristyle garden. This is the villa's heart of beauty, framed on all sides by a colonnade that forms a quiet sanctuary of nature within walls of stone. The air shifts as you step inside. Here it is cooler, fresher, kissed by dew and scented with blossoms that wake only at night. The gentle rustle of leaves replaces the muffled echoes of interior rooms. It feels as though the villa itself exhales in relief, its private garden alive with breath, fragrance, and light. The columns of stillness, tall marble columns, line the edges of the courtyard, their pale shafts glowing faintly beneath the moon. Their shadows fall long and dark across the mosaic floor of the walkway, each column standing like a silent sentinel. Once, these columns supported painted beams of wood and terracotta tiles, sheltering those who strolled the perimeter. Tonight, they frame the stars, each gap between them a window into eternity. The rhythm of their repetition draws the eye inward, toward the garden at the center. The geometry is deliberate, a harmony of architecture and nature. Here, the Romans shaped beauty with balance, arranging stone and soil as though they were equal voices in a single hymn. The garden's embrace. Within the colonnade lies the garden itself, a square of cultivated earth alive with order and wonder. Small boxwood hedges trace neat lines across the soil, dividing it into measured plots. At their edges, roses unfurl pale petals, their fragrance drifting into the night. Orange trees rise gracefully, their branches heavy with fruit that gleams faintly in the moonlight, like lanterns suspended in air. Laurel shrubs cluster nearby, their dark leaves whispering gently in the breeze. Between them, delicate violets and lilies rest low to the ground, their blooms pale as spilled milk. Each plant has its purpose. Some to delight the eye, others to heal, others to perfume the air. Together, they weave a living tapestry, a pattern of texture and scent meant to soothe the mind. The fountain at the center. At the very heart of the garden lies a fountain, its basin of marble worn smooth by centuries of water. Though silent now, you can imagine the gentle trickle that once filled these hours with music. The sound would have blended with bird calls in the day, and with crickets at night, creating a symphony of calm that lulled the villa's inhabitants to peace. The moonlight catches on the water that still rests faintly in its bowl, painting it with silver. A reflection of the night sky swims across its surface, stars trembling upon liquid stone. Echoes of leisure. The peristyle was not only a garden but a place of leisure, where owners and guests once strolled slowly, speaking of philosophy, poetry, or the affairs of Rome. Children played among the hedges, their laughter mingling with the fountain's song. Women plucked flowers to braid into their hair. Men reclined beneath the colonnade, enjoying the shade while scribes read aloud from scrolls. In the silence of this night, you can almost hear those voices, gentle conversation, soft laughter, the rustle of sandals across mosaic floors. Though the centuries have stolen them, the garden remembers, and it breathes their echoes like a dream that has not faded. Moonlight and fragrance, the moon pours its silver into the courtyard, turning each leaf into a glowing shard. The roses seem to shimmer, their pale blooms catching light like silk. A night breeze stirs, carrying the fragrance of jasmine mingled with citrus from the orange trees. The air is cool against your skin, yet gentle, like a caress. It carries not only scent but serenity. You breathe deeply, and with each breath, your body loosens further into calm, as though the garden itself were drawing you toward rest. Silent companions around the edges of the peristyle, marble statues stand quietly. One is a nymph, her hand raised in eternal greeting. Another, a young boy with a bird perched upon his arm. A third, Venus herself, draped in stone robes that shimmer beneath the pale light. They are not cold here, they are companions. Their gaze is tender, as if they too are part of the night's vigil. They have watched over centuries of evenings, and tonight they watch over you, lending the garden not grandeur, but comfort. The path of the stars as you walk slowly around the colonnade, the stars above seem to follow. They shine through the spaces between columns, each step revealing a new alignment of sky and stone. The rhythm of your footsteps joins the rhythm of the night, the whisper of wind, the gentle song of crickets, the silent turning of the heavens. The Romans believed that harmony in design reflected the harmony of the cosmos. Here, among hedges and columns, you feel that truth. The peristyle is not just a garden, it is a mirror of the sky, a fragment of order set within the chaos of the world. A seat among the blossoms, at last, you pause upon a stone bench set against the colonnade. Its surface is cool, but smooth from years of touch. From here, you see the whole garden unfold, the fountain at its center, the hedges, the orange trees, the statues, and above them all, the crown of stars. You sit quietly, letting the garden's serenity seep into you. Every detail, the fragrance, the glow, the hush, works upon your spirit like a balm. The garden seems to whisper, rest, breathe, let the night carry you. Leaving the garden slowly, you rise once more. You take one last glance at the fountain, at the statues, at the silent rows of roses and laurel. The peristyle has given you its gift, the gift of calm, of beauty, of harmony. As you step back toward the colonnade, the garden recedes into shadow, but its peace remains within you. The villa draws you onward, deeper into its secrets, yet part of you remains here, in the garden, where stone and blossom meet, where silence blooms, where the night itself feels eternal. Leaving the peristyle garden behind, you walk softly down a shaded corridor. The scent of roses and citrus lingers, fading slowly as the air grows drier and more hushed. The stone walls here feel closer, guiding you toward a chamber where the mind once flourished as richly as the blossoms of the garden. This is the library of the villa, a sanctuary not of leaves and flowers, but of ink, parchment, and thought. The doorframe rises modestly, carved of wood polished by centuries of touch. As you cross the threshold, the atmosphere changes again. A stillness, more profound than before, greets you. It is not the stillness of night alone, but the stillness of memory, preserved in silence. The glow of oil lamps, though most of the villa sleeps, here and there, faint oil lamps remain burning, their wicks trembling with small flames. The light is soft, golden, fragile. It pools against the walls, leaving corners wrapped in shadow. The flickering glow reveals shelves upon shelves, stacked with scrolls carefully bound and stored in niches. The air carries a dry, papery scent, mingled with cedar wood. Roman libraries often kept wooden chests of aromatic oils to protect the scrolls from decay, and their fragrance still lingers faintly. With each breath, you draw in not only air but the essence of preservation, the desire to hold wisdom safe against time. The shelves of memory along the walls, wooden shelves rise, each niche filled with rolled scrolls tied in colored ribbons. Some are sealed with wax, others marked with tags to identify their contents. The ribbons, though faded, hint at their origins: red for history, blue for poetry, green for philosophy. Every scroll is a voice, a story, a fragment of the Roman world. Some contain the verses of Virgil or Horace, meant to be recited in rhythm. Others hold the musings of philosophers, pondering fate, virtue, and the gods. There are works of medicine, recording cures of herbs and minerals. Records of land and trade, accounts of harvests and festivals. Together, they form a mosaic of knowledge, the mind of Rome etched upon fragile papyrus. The reader's bench at the center of the room rests a low wooden bench. Its surface is smooth and slightly concave from long use. Here, readers once sat with scrolls unfurled upon their laps, lips moving silently as their eyes traced the letters. In Rome, to read aloud, even softly, was to let words live, for the voice gave breath to text. You imagine the sound, delicate as a whisper, lines of poetry spoken into the hush of night, their rhythm rising and falling like waves upon a shore. Tonight the room remembers them. Though no one speaks, the air itself seems tuned to echo the gentle cadence of words. Whispers of the past. If you close your eyes, you might hear the rustle of parchment, the scratch of a reed pen across wax tablets, the low murmur of a philosopher guiding a pupil. Perhaps you catch the laughter of children, repeating lines of Homer as part of their lessons, voices rising and falling in sing-song patterns. The library was more than a storage of texts. It was a school, a place of learning, a hearth for the intellect. Within its walls, wisdom was kindled and passed on. The stillness of this night is heavy with those echoes, as though the minds that once gathered here still linger in shadow, reluctant to leave. The scent of cedar and ink. You walk slowly along the shelves. The cedarwood chests stand silently, some still faintly fragrant with resin. Inside, precious scrolls slumber in bundles. The scent of old ink drifts faintly upward, mingling with the woody notes. It is a fragrance unlike any other, earthy, dry, tinged with smoke from past lamps, and the faint sweetness of preserved reeds. It feels both grounding and ethereal, as though you breathe in not only air but the thoughts of ages. Every inhale connects you to those who once wrote, once read, once dreamed within these walls. Statues of the Muses. At one end of the chamber stands a marble pedestal, upon which rests a small statue of a muse. Her figure is delicate, her eyes turned upward, her hands holding a scroll. She represents memory and inspiration, the guardians of knowledge. In the dim glow, her marble seems almost alive, her features softened by flickering light. Beside her are two more statues, one holding a lyre, another with a stylus. They remind you that learning in Rome was not divided. Music, poetry, mathematics, and philosophy were threads of the same tapestry. To study one was to touch them all, and the library was where those threads converged. Moonlight through the lattice, a small window set high in the wall, filters the night sky. Its lattice of carved stone breaks the moonlight into slender beams, which fall like pale ribbons across the floor. Dust motes drift through them, suspended in silence, glowing softly. The beams fall upon the scrolls, as though the moon itself were reading alongside you. It illuminates fragments of ribbon, corners of parchment, a curl of wax seal. In that delicate glow, the room feels alive with presence, as though unseen readers still turn invisible pages beneath the stars. The eternal flame of knowledge. The Romans believed knowledge should outlive its keepers, and in this room, you sense that ambition. Though centuries may pass, though empires rise and fall, the desire to preserve wisdom endures. Each scroll is fragile, yet together they form a fortress stronger than marble or steel. The silence of the library is not emptiness but fullness, full of words, ideas, memories. It does not weigh upon you. Instead, it soothes, as if assuring you that nothing truly vanishes. The words written here echo forever, carried forward in ways unseen. Lingering in stillness, at last, you sit upon the reader's bench. You imagine unrolling a scroll, its papyrus fibers crackling faintly. By lamplight the letters bloom, lines of poetry flowing like water, urging reflection, urging calm. The world outside disappears. There is only this chamber, this silence, this union of ink and night. You linger here, breathing deeply of cedar and parchment, letting the hush of centuries wash over you. The library has given you not noise but peace, not speech but presence. You feel yourself sinking, slowly, gently, into the calm it provides. Leaving the chamber, when at last you rise, you glance once more at the shelves, the statues, the scrolls, and the golden glow of oil lamps. The library remains behind, eternal, its wisdom resting quietly. You step back into the corridor, carrying its stillness with you. As though invisible words continue to float beside you, the villa calls you onward, to new chambers, to new memories. But within your heart, the hush of the library remains, a lullaby of parchment and light. From the grandeur of the library, you wander deeper into the villa. The walls narrow, the marble gives way to plainer plaster, and the faint perfume of cedar is replaced by something homelier, the smell of hearth smoke, bread dough, and wool. These are the servants' quarters, the heart of the household's daily rhythm. Here, the air is softer. Laughter once echoed down these halls, along with the shuffle of sandals and the hum of quiet songs. The luxury of the master's rooms depended upon the unseen labor of many hands. Now, at night, those hands are folded in rest. The glow of the hearth, at the center of this modest space, burns a low hearth. Its embers are faint but steady, casting a coppery glow across the walls. Around it, simple stools are gathered, and a clay pot rests at the edge of the ashes, filled with the remnants of a humble stew. The fragrance is faint but comforting. Lentils, onions, a trace of herbs plucked from the garden. The servants may have sat here only hours ago, sharing food after long work. Their voices would have mingled gently, stories from the day, gossip, quiet laughter. Even now, in the silence, it feels as though those murmurs linger, woven into the smoke that rises lazily upward. The rooms of rest, you step softly into the adjoining rooms. Each is small, lit only by narrow oil lamps. Straw mattresses lie neatly on the floor, covered with simple woolen blankets. Clay jars stand in corners, filled with water or wine. On the walls hang small charms, protective amulets, offerings to household spirits, prayers for health and safety. The air is warm, carrying the faint scent of straw and fabric. These were spaces of rest for those whose days began at dawn and ended long after the masters of the house had gone to sleep. Their slumber was brief, yet deeply earned. Soft chatter of memory. If you listen closely, you might hear echoes of the day just ended. The clatter of amphorae in the kitchen, the swish of brooms along the mosaic floors, the careful tending of lamps and braziers. You might hear the quiet voice of a nurse soothing a child, or the measured footsteps of a steward ensuring all was in order. Now, the villa lies in silence, and these echoes are only memory. Yet they do not fade harshly. They remain gentle, like a distant lullaby, a rhythm of life that brings comfort even in stillness. The pulse of the villa, without the servants' work, the villa could not breathe. They were the unseen heartbeat, tending fire, water, food, and light. Even in slumber, their presence anchors the household. In their quarters, away from marble and statues, the villa feels most human, most tender. Here, the night is not filled with grandeur but with warmth, with simplicity, with the quiet assurance of life carried on. Lingering in the quiet, you pause by the hearth. Its glow steadies your breath. The faint warmth soothes your skin, while the crackle of a single ember is like a whispered goodnight. In the servants' quarters, the villa's magnificence softens into gentleness. You feel yourself drifting deeper into calm, touched not by splendor, but by the quiet glow of ordinary life. From the modest warmth of the servants' quarters, your steps lead you back toward the villa's core. The air shifts again, the scent of straw and bread fades, replaced by cool stone and the faint sharpness of polished bronze. You emerge once more into the atrium, the great heart of the house. The moonlight still filters through the open roof, spilling silver across the water of the impluvium. But now your eyes are drawn to the walls, where shadows stretch long and silent. Here the past is alive. The Imagine's masks of memory, mounted within wooden cabinets along the walls, are the Imagine's ancestral masks. These faces, molded in wax and sometimes painted, preserve the likenesses of the villa's lineage. By day, their features seem stern and proud, gazing out with the authority of memory. At night, under the flickering light of oil lamps, they soften into something more spectral. Each mask is a reminder of triumphs won, offices held, sacrifices made. They are not only portraits but symbols, guardians of honor and legacy. The Romans believed their ancestors lived on through remembrance, their voices speaking quietly through these waxen visages. Whispers across time, you draw closer. The lamplight trembles against one mask's cheek, making it appear almost alive. For a moment, you imagine you hear a faint murmur, a voice carried from centuries past. Another mask seems to look upon you with quiet expectation, as if waiting for you to acknowledge its presence. It is easy to understand why the Romans honored these figures so reverently. To them, these were not relics but companions, witnesses to the ongoing story of the family. Even in sleep, the villa breathes with their presence. Ceremony of the dead. In times of mourning, these masks would be worn by actors, carried in solemn procession, their silent faces representing the lineage of the departed. The atrium would once have filled with incense smoke, chants, the echo of footsteps on marble, as the ancestors were invoked to welcome their descendant into the realm of shadows. But tonight, all is quiet. The masks rest in their cabinets, undisturbed. The only sound is the faint drip of water from the impluvium, like the measured beat of a clock. The weight of legacy. You stand still, surrounded by these silent faces. They remind you that life is not fleeting, but part of a chain. Every servant, every master, every child sleeping under this roof is linked to those who came before, and to those who will follow. The Romans carried this awareness constantly, an unbroken thread binding past, present, and future. In the hush of the villa, you feel that same thread tug gently at your spirit, inviting you to rest in continuity, not isolation. The atrium's stillness. The atrium itself seems to embrace this role as keeper of memory. The marble columns stand solemn, the mosaics gleam faintly, the pool reflects a piece of night sky, and above it all, the masks, watchful, unblinking, stand guard. This stillness does not weigh heavily. Instead, it comforts, like the presence of grandparents sitting quietly nearby. Their silence is not absence but care, not judgment but reassurance. Fading into calm as you linger, your breath slows. The waxen faces fade softly into shadow. They do not demand, they do not speak loudly. They simply remain, offering the reminder that you are part of something larger, something that stretches across centuries. And in this reminder, there is deep peace. The voices of the past become the lullaby of the present, guiding you further into rest. From the atrium, where ancestral faces linger in silence, you move slowly toward the peristyle garden. The passage narrows, lined with cool stone, and the faint smell of wet earth drifts forward. Soon, the air grows fresher, tinged with night blossoms. The hush deepens, as if even the villa itself lowers its voice to welcome the calm of the garden. The first glimpse of water, the peristyle opens before you. Columns stand in orderly rows, framing a square of open sky. At its center rests a pool, long and rectangular, its edges bordered with smooth stone. By day, this pool reflects sun and blue heavens, but tonight it gathers the moonlight like a mirror. The surface is perfectly still, disturbed only by the faintest ripple when a night breeze brushes past. You pause at the threshold, allowing your gaze to rest on the water. It is like a painting, serene and timeless. Moonlight reflections, the moon lies stretched across the pool, broken into soft ribbons by the shifting breeze. Stars scatter gently along the surface, as though the heavens themselves had descended into this quiet corner of the villa. The sight calms your eyes, inviting them to soften, to release the sharpness of day. Nearby, the garden plants breathe their own perfume into the night. Jasmine curls its sweetness into the air, mingling with rosemary, thyme, and a faint citrus carried from the orchard beyond. Each scent is delicate, never overwhelming, blending into a single, soothing harmony. Echoes of gentle steps at times, the garden would have been alive with footsteps, children running, masters strolling with guests, philosophers pacing slowly while reciting verses. But now the marble walkways are empty. The columns cast long shadows, and the pool lies untouched, offering only silence. And yet, you feel those memories lingering as though the stones themselves remember. The air hums softly with what has been, layering the stillness with warmth. The garden's guardians alongside the pool stand statues, small gods carved in marble, their features smoothed by time. Perhaps a Venus holding a dove. Perhaps a nymph forever pouring water from a jar. Their silent presence blesses the garden, linking the beauty of nature with the reverence of devotion. The water at their feet reflects them faintly, as if even their stone forms dream in the quiet of night. A place of reflection, you kneel by the pool's edge. The stone beneath your hand is cool, damp with the breath of night. The water before you reflects your face alongside the sky. For a moment you feel yourself part of the scene, not separate, but woven into its stillness. The Romans prized these gardens as sanctuaries within their homes, spaces where nature was tamed yet allowed to soothe. Here, mind and body could rest, lulled by water, by fragrance, by shade. Tonight, you share in that same sanctuary. A breeze through the leaves, a breeze stirs. The cypress trees bordering the garden sway slightly, their dark outlines bending against the pale sky. The sound is delicate, like whispered words you cannot quite hear. The breeze touches the pool and the moon breaks into ripples, shimmering before reuniting into wholeness. The garden breathes, and you breathe with it. Slow, steady, effortless. Peace without measure. Minutes, perhaps hours, could pass as you sit by the pool. The stillness asks for nothing. Time itself loosens, softens, until you no longer measure it. Only the rhythm of breath, the shimmer of water, the perfume of night remain. This is the villa's heart in its gentlest form, not grandeur, not power, but tranquility. Sinking into calm, you close your eyes. Behind your lids, the pool remains, its moonlit image imprinted in memory. The quiet continues to wrap around you deeper and deeper, until your thoughts drift like ripples, spreading outward, dissolving softly into silence. The garden pool becomes more than water. It becomes rest itself. Leaving the pool's serene mirror, you step softly along the colonnade that frames the garden. At the far end, an archway leads out into the night beyond the villa's enclosed heart. The air changes as you pass through. Cooler, freer, touched with the scent of soil. You are walking toward the land that sustains the household, where vines stretch under the Roman sky. First breath of the vineyard unfolds before you, its rows neat and measured. Though the day's laborers have long since gone to rest, the vines remain watchful, their leaves whispering gently in the breeze. The night carries with it the earthy sweetness of ripening grapes, mingled with the faint musk of turned soil. The smell is rich and grounding, drawing you closer. It is not the sharp perfume of flowers, but something deeper, more enduring, an aroma that speaks of sustenance, of patience, of cycles that have stretched across generations. Moonlight on the rows, the moon leans low over the vineyard, silvering each leaf and tendril. Long rows stretch like corridors into the distance, creating patterns of shadow and light that guide your gaze forward. At intervals, small posts of wood and stone rise from the ground, supporting the vines. They stand like sentinels, holding the promise of harvest. From somewhere farther off, the faint rustle of an owl can be heard. The bird glides unseen across the vines, silent but ever watchful, just as the household gods within the villa watch over the family. Echoes of the day, you pause, imagining the vineyard in daylight. You can almost see workers bending low among the rows, hands stained purple from the grapes, voices carrying songs and chatter through the warm air. Amphorae, waiting nearby, would fill slowly with the juice that will become wine. Wine to grace banquets, to be offered to guests, to be poured in libation to the gods. But now, those echoes fade back into the soil. The vineyard sleeps, just as the villa sleeps, resting until morning calls it back to life. A world in stillness, you step between two rows, letting your fingertips brush lightly over the leaves. They are cool to the touch, faintly damp with dew. The clusters of grapes, hidden among them, are round and heavy, their skins catching the dim light. The air is thick with stillness, a stillness not empty but full of the quiet work of roots and earth, full of the ancient rhythm that guides vine and season alike. You feel small here, yet not diminished. Rather, you feel part of something vast and eternal. The language of earth, the Romans revered the vineyard as both labor and blessing. Each sip of wine was more than drink. It was the fruit of patience, of toil, of harmony with the land. To stand among the vines at night is to hear that truth without words. The earth speaks softly, reminding you of the bond between soil and life, between labor and rest. You breathe in deeply, and the vineyard answers with its fragrance. A lullaby of earth and grape, calming and grounding. The sky over the vines above, the stars scatter in brilliance. Their light feels closer here, away from the villa's lamps, as though the heavens lean down to meet the vines. The constellations the Romans knew. Jupiter's brightness, Saturn's patience, Venus's glow. Look upon the vineyard, just as they looked upon countless others across the empire. The sky and the earth reflect each other, the vines rooted firmly below, the stars rooted firmly above, and you standing between them, become part of this symmetry, suspended in a harmony of silence. Walking back slowly, when at last you turn to leave, you do so slowly, not wanting to break the spell of the vineyard's rest. The path back toward the villa glimmers faintly, lined with stones that guide your steps. Behind you, the vines remain undisturbed, carrying their fruit into the quiet hours of night. The smell of soil lingers on your skin, the sweetness of grapes in your memory. It is a memory not only of taste, but of stillness, of belonging to land and sky alike. Sinking into rest, as you pass once more beneath the villa's archway, you feel the vineyard's calm trailing after you like a gentle cloak. The rhythm of earth and grape, the quiet of moonlit rows, settles into your breath. The household sleeps, and now the vineyard sleeps within you as well. You are carried deeper into quiet, your thoughts softening, your spirit sinking into the patience of the land. From the vineyard's archway, your steps carry you along a path lined with low walls and olive trees. The villa's outer yard begins to unfold, quieter, more utilitarian, yet still alive with presence. Ahead lies the stable, its timber frame sturdy and plain against the night. A faint golden light flickers from within, spilling onto the ground in uneven patches. The smell reaches you first: warm hay, the musk of animals, a trace of leather and wood smoke. It is a scent that speaks of work and companionship, of creatures cared for and depended upon. Entering the stable, you push the door gently, and it creaks open. Inside, the world is hushed but not silent. The air is thick with warmth, carrying the earthy breath of horses at rest. Dust motes drift lazily in the glow of a hanging oil lamp, which sways slightly with the draft of your entry. Along the rows, horses shift in their stalls, each enclosed by wooden partitions. They are not alarmed, only curious, their dark eyes glistening as they notice you. The quiet is filled with their subtle sounds, the soft thud of hooves against straw, the rustle of hay, the slow rhythm of their breathing. The horse is at rest. One horse exhales heavily, a gentle snort that stirs the hay at its feet. Another flicks its ears in half sleep, swishing its tail once before settling again. Their bodies gleam faintly in the lamplight, muscles hidden beneath smooth coats that shine like bronze. These are not only beasts of burden, they are companions, trusted in travel and in the labors of the land. To the Romans, horses were symbols of strength, endurance, and freedom. Yet here, in the quiet of the stable, they are simply souls at rest, folded into the same stillness that covers the villa. The scent of hay, you step closer, and the floor crunches softly beneath your sandals. The smell of hay surrounds you, sweet, dry, and soothing. It mingles with the musk of horsey hide and the faint tang of iron from the tack that hangs neatly on the walls. The air feels thick with comfort, almost like a blanket of memory. You notice a small pile of grain left in a trough, untouched but ready for morning. A bucket of water gleams with reflected light, the surface barely rippling as a horse lowers its head to drink slowly, each sip echoing like a calm heartbeat. Echoes of the day. Your mind drifts to the day's earlier hours, when the stable was filled with voices. Servants tending, hooves striking the packed earth, the bray of mules harnessed for work. Perhaps a rider prepared for a journey, cinching straps with practiced hands. Perhaps a cart was loaded with amphorae of oil or wine, destined for the road beyond. But all of that is gone now. Only the echoes remain, softened into memory. The stable itself seems to exhale, resting from its labor just as the horses do. The companionship of silence. You lean against a wooden post, simply listening. The rhythm of the animals' breathing blends into a quiet chorus, steady and grounding. One horse stamps once, then grows still again. Another shifts in the straw, creating a soft rustle like the turning of pages. There is no need for words here. The silence is full enough, filled with the presence of living beings who dream in their own way, who carry their own memories of gallops and fields, of sun and road. Flicker of the lamp. The oil lamp flickers, throwing shadows that stretch across the beams overhead. The light catches on a polished bit of bronze tack, then slides away, leaving the stall once more in dimness. Each shift of brightness feels like a heartbeat, slow and calm, rocking the stable into deeper quiet. You realize you are breathing in rhythm with the horses, your chest rising and falling in time with theirs. Their calm has become your calm, their rest your rest. The stable's lullaby, the sounds grow softer still. The occasional snort or shuffle seems to come from far away, wrapped in layers of straw and warmth. The smell of hay, the glow of lamplight, the closeness of the animals, all of it weaves together into a kind of lullaby, rustic yet deeply human. You feel yourself swaying slightly, as though rocked in an invisible cradle. This is the villa's other heartbeat, the pulse of its animals and its earthbound labors, steady and reassuring. Withdrawing quietly at last, you step back toward the door. A final glance reveals the horses settling once more into stillness, their eyes half closed, their ears relaxed. The lamp trembles one last time as you ease the door closed, and the stable returns to its perfect hush. Outside, the night air greets you with freshness, cool and open after the warmth inside. But the calm of the stable lingers in your chest, carrying you deeper into the embrace of the villa's night. From the stable yard, you retrace your steps along the path that leads toward the inner villa. The scent of hay fades, replaced by faint hints of smoke and spice. A doorway, smaller than the grand entrances you've passed before, opens into the kitchen. It is not built for display or for elegance. This is a place of labor, yet it glows with its own quiet dignity. The threshold welcomes you with a rush of warmth, still lingering from the day's fire. The hearth of the household. At the center of the kitchen lies the great hearth, the villa's beating heart. Its embers still glow, orange and gold, whispering faint crackles as wood collapses into ash. A clay pot rests above the coals, the scent of stew still clinging to its rim. A faint curl of steam escapes, carrying the aroma of lentils, garlic, and oil. Nearby, iron cooking tools hang in tidy rows. Amphorae stand tall against the walls, their rounded bellies holding olive oil, wine, and garum, the pungent fish sauce beloved in Roman cooking. The air is rich, layered with traces of herbs, roasted grains, and smoke. Echoes of daytime labor during the day. This room would have been alive with claymore knives striking wood, servants calling out tasks, the hiss of boiling pots, and the sudden flare of flames when oil touched fire. The kitchen was never silent, never still. But now, the villa sleeps. The cooks have retreated, their work complete. Only the warmth remains, wrapping the room like a heavy blanket. The silence is alive, holding the memory of countless meals prepared, countless hands moving in rhythm. The amphore's silent watch, you pause near the line of amphore. Each is marked with faint inscriptions, scratched or painted to show their contents. Some hold deep red wine, others thick oil that gleams even in low light. One amphora, sealed with wax, gives off a faint aroma of honey. They stand like guardians of abundance, reminding you that this villa is not only a place of rest, but also of sustenance, of nourishment drawn from the land and carefully preserved. Their silent watch feels timeless, as though they have stood in this place for generations. The glow of coals, you kneel slightly, gazing into the embers of the hearth. They pulse gently, fading and brightening as if breathing. Occasionally, a spark leaps upward, vanishing before it reaches the chimney's dark mouth. The warmth brushes your face, soothing and grounding. The faint crackle of ash is like a whisper, a quiet conversation between flame and wood that continues long after the day has ended. Imagining the feast, your mind drifts, imagining the kitchen at its height. The cooks bustling, one tending the bread ovens, another stirring pots, another arranging trays of olives, cheese, and figs. Perhaps earlier tonight, the villa's master and guests dined in splendor, unaware of the hands that created their feast. Here, in the quiet aftermath, you feel the ghost of that energy. The laughter of servants, the clink of amphora lids, the rush to serve before the food cooled. All of it still lingers faintly, softened into memory by the silence of night. The kitchen's spirit, it is said that every Roman household had its protective spirits, the layers, who watched over food and fire. Standing here, in the hush of the kitchen, you almost feel them. The invisible guardians of sustenance, keeping watch through the night. Their presence is not stern but gentle, ensuring that the embers never die, that hunger is always met with abundance. Sitting by the fire, you settle onto a wooden stool by the hearth. The heat wraps around you, loosening your breath, easing the tension from your shoulders. The air smells of roasted grain and faint sweetness, perhaps from figs or honey spilled during the day. The flicker of light dances across the walls, painting shifting patterns of gold and shadow. The kitchen, though plain compared to the villa's marble rooms, feels deeply alive, a place where necessity becomes comfort. A humble lullaby, the sound of the coals becomes steady like a heartbeat. Each faint pop is a note in a quiet lullaby, rustic but soothing. The amphora stands still, the tools hang in silence, the shadows stretch long and soft. This is no grand chamber, no decorated hall, yet it may be the most comforting room of all. Here, the warmth is not symbolic. It is real, wrapping the body, settling the spirit. Withdrawing from the hearth at last, you rise. The kitchen will sleep now until dawn, when hands return to stir, chop, and kindle the fire anew. The embers glow faintly, their heat lingering against your skin as you step toward the doorway. Outside, the night is cooler, fresher. Yet the warmth of the kitchen travels with you, carried in your chest, as though a part of the fire now burns quietly within. Leaving behind the kitchen's warmth, you follow a narrow stairway winding upward. The steps are worn smooth, carrying the marks of countless feet. The air grows cooler with each step, the smell of smoke and herbs fading, replaced by the crisp clarity of open night. At the top, a door creaks open, and suddenly the villa releases you into the wide embrace of the sky. The first breath of night air, the roof terrace stretches before you, open and vast. The air is fresh, carrying faint traces of pine from the hills and the salt of the distant sea. It feels cleaner, lighter than the rooms below, as if the very sky has washed it clear. You inhale deeply. The coolness settles in your chest, a gentle contrast to the lingering heat of the kitchen hearth. The distant glow of Rome, far on the horizon, faint lights shimmer. Rome itself, the beating heart of the empire, glows in the distance. Tiny pinpricks of fire and lamplight mingle with the stars, creating a horizon that feels both near and impossibly far. Occasionally, a flicker of torchlight marks the movement of a patrol on the road, or the faint smoke of a distant hearth drifts upward. Even from here, you can sense the endless pulse of life in the empire's veins. The sky as a canopy above you, the heavens stretch vast and clear. Stars burn steadily, countless in number, scattered like grains of salt on a dark cloth. Some shimmer with cool blue light, others glow faintly red. A crescent moon hangs low, pale and watchful, casting silver light across the villa's rooftops. The silence is immense, yet it is not empty. It is filled with the hum of the cosmos, the quiet presence of eternity. The villa from above, looking down, you see the villa in miniature. Courtyards lie hushed, pools shimmer faintly, and gardens rest in shadow. The walls, so towering when you walk beside them, now seem gentle, contained. From here, the villa feels like an island in a vast sea of night, self-contained yet deeply connected to the world beyond. The geometry of the buildings, the ordered harmony of Roman design, glows faintly in moonlight, reminding you of balance, of order, of stillness. The sound of night, you close your eyes and listen. From somewhere beyond the walls comes the distant bark of a dog. A night bird calls. its voice sharp then fading. The faint rustle of leaves marks the breeze passing through the vineyards below. Closer by, you can hear the subtle creak of the villa's roof beams settling, wood responding to the night's coolness. Even here, silence is never absolute. It is filled with delicate notes, blending into a symphony of stillness. Stars over Rome, you let your gaze return to the sky. For the Romans, these constellations were more than distant lights. They were guides, stories, gods immortalized in their eternal watch. You trace familiar shapes: Orion the hunter, Cassiopeia's chair, the twin stars of Gemini. Perhaps a servant once climbed to this very spot to seek omens in the heavens, or a child once stood here, naming each star with wonder. Tonight, they shine not as portents but as companions, keeping watch with you in silence. The breeze across the terrace, a soft wind moves across the terrace, tugging gently at your clothing, brushing cool fingers across your face. It carries the faint scent of the earth, of vines, of stone warmed by the day's sun. Each breath feels cleansing, as if the night itself is breathing you into its rhythm. You exhale slowly, your thoughts scattering like the sparks that once rose from the kitchen fire. The watchfulness of night, you sense the vastness around you, but rather than overwhelm, it comforts. The empire sleeps, the villa rests, and above it all, the stars hold their vigil. The night feels eternal, yet welcoming, an infinite expanse that cradles the small flame of human life with care. You are part of that flame, small but luminous, alive beneath the canopy of the sky. Lingering under the stars, you remain on the terrace for a long while, simply breathing, watching, listening. Time stretches, softens, dissolves. It is no longer measured in moments, but in the slow arc of the stars, in the hush of the wind. When at last you turn back toward the stairway, you feel lighter. The stars remain behind you, but their calm travels with you, as though a piece of the sky now glows quietly within your heart. Descending from the roof terrace, you find yourself back within the villa's walls. The air is still and hushed, thick with the sense of rest. The fires have burned low, the lamps glow faintly, and every sound feels softened, wrapped in a blanket of quiet. One by one, the voices that filled the day have drifted into silence. The family rests. The servants rest. Even the animals in their stables breathe in long, steady rhythms. The villa, once alive with motion and chatter, now dreams. The master's chamber, in the grandest room of the villa, the master of the household sleeps. His bed is carved of wood, draped with linens that hold the faint scent of lavender. On a low table, an extinguished lamp still trails a curl of smoke, a reminder of the moment when wakefulness surrendered to rest. His brow, furrowed in the affairs of day, has softened. The lines of command and decision are gone, replaced by the openness of dreams. Perhaps he walks through memories of triumph, or perhaps through simple visions of peace. The lady of the house beside him, or in her own chamber nearby, the mistress sleeps in calm repose. Her hair, once carefully arranged, lies loose upon the pillow. Her hand rests lightly on the blanket, fingers curved as if still cradling the day's last thought. For her, dreams may weave a tapestry of gardens and laughter, of children's voices echoing in the atrium, of festivals remembered under torchlight. She sleeps with the dignity of one who knows her home rests secure. The children's dreams in a smaller chamber. The children lie curled beneath woolen blankets. Their sleep is lighter, shifting, alive with the vivid play of dreams. A boy may imagine himself astride a horse, galloping across the villa's vineyard. A girl may find herself wandering through endless halls of marble, chasing the glow of lanterns. Their laughter and mischief of the day are now transformed into softer echoes, reshaped into dreamscapes that carry them far from the confines of stone walls. The servants rest back in their quarters. The servants too have succumbed to sleep. Their rest is deep, earned by the labor of the day. Dreams may bring them images of their families, distant and remembered, or perhaps simply the comfort of quiet fields under the sun. In this hour, all differences of station fall away. Master and servant alike are wrapped in the same fabric of silence, breathing in time with one another, united by the shared rhythm of rest. The house as a living dream. As you walk quietly through the villa's corridors, you sense that the house itself dreams. The stone walls hold the day's echoes, replaying them faintly as if in memory. The water in the pool reflects not the moon now, but the shimmering haze of imagination. Even the wind seems slower, softened as it passes through shutters and colonnades. The villa is not only a place of brick and marble, it is a vessel of lives, of thoughts, of dreams that stretch and weave together. Visions of continuity. You imagine the dreams flowing together, forming a tapestry larger than any single mind. The master dreams of legacy, the lady dreams of harmony, the children of play, the servants of peace. Threads intertwine, overlap, and merge until the villa itself becomes a single dream, vast and tender, stretching across the night. It is a dream of safety, of belonging, of time held still beneath the stars. The protective silence outside, the empire continues. Roads stretch to distant provinces, rivers flow, soldiers keep watch at their posts. Yet here, in this villa, silence reigns. The household slumbers as though wrapped in invisible arms, guarded not by weapons but by the simple power of rest. Even the masks of the ancestors in the atrium seem to bow their heads, sharing in the stillness. The night protects its dreamers, and the dreamers protect one another. A moment of reflection, you pause at the threshold of a chamber and simply listen. The sound of breathing, soft and steady, fills the air. It is the sound of life itself, gentle and unbroken. It reassures you more than any speech or monument could that even in the vastness of the empire, peace exists here, now in this villa. The dream of Rome is not only conquest or marble cities, it is also this family's asleep, hearts untroubled, the quiet continuation of ordinary days. The nights embrace as you move toward the courtyard once more, the stillness deepens. The stars overhead remain constant, the air cool against your skin. The villa breathes as one, a single heartbeat of stone and spirit, carried gently into the embrace of night. And you too feel yourself part of this household, carried with them into the dream. The villa slumbers, but beyond its gates, the empire does not cease. The world outside stretches vast and unbroken, its pulse reaching even here in faint echoes. As you step into the outer courtyard and pause near the gate, the night carries distant sounds. They drift faintly, like ripples across a great sea of silence. The roads of empire, you imagine the Roman roads, those endless veins of stone stretching to every province. Tonight, they are quiet yet not empty. A cart may creak far away, its wheels crunching softly against gravel. A lone traveler, cloaked against the night chill, may tread carefully toward a distant milestone. The rhythm of footsteps is steady, purposeful, carrying echoes that never truly fade. The roads themselves seem to hum, a song of movement, of trade, of messages carried between cities. Even in the depth of night, the empire's arteries remain alive. Soldiers on the march in the distance, you might hear the faint, disciplined tread of soldiers, not here to disturb the villa, but passing far away on the empire's business. Their sandals strike the road in unison, a rhythm as precise as a heartbeat. The echo of their march travels farther than the men themselves, carried by stone, earth, and air. It is a sound both reassuring and solemn, a reminder that the peace of the villa is protected by countless unseen lives, wakeful when others rest. The cities murmur farther still. Beyond the horizon, the city of Rome itself breathes with quiet life. Lamps flicker in tenement windows. The Tiber flows steadily, whispering to the banks it has known for centuries. From the Subura to the Palatine, silence is never complete. There is always a distant cry, a turning wheel, the low murmur of voices. These sounds, softened by distance, reach the countryside like a ghost of memory. The villa does not hear them directly, yet it belongs to them, bound to the greater rhythm of the city. The sea's distant song, if you strain your imagination, you might even hear the sea, far off where the empire meets its edges. The Mediterranean is never still. Waves rise and fall, ships rock gently in their harbors, sailors dream of distant shores. The empire rests upon this living water, and even its nighttime hush carries the resonance of tides. Echoes in the sky above, the heavens are vast and filled with stars. Yet even here, echoes seem to linger. The constellations whisper stories, the myths of heroes, gods, and ancient battles. Romans gazed upon these same stars as you do now, listening for patterns, finding guidance. The sky is the greatest mirror of all, carrying echoes not of sound but of time. Every star that shines tonight carries the memory of countless nights before, and countless nights to come. The empire in stillness, though so much lies beyond the villa, it all feels softened tonight. The roads are quiet, the soldiers march distant. The cities murmur faint. Even the sea seems calmer, its voice gentler. The empire, vast and powerful, rests in its own way, stretched across thousands of miles, yet unified in the stillness of night. These echoes are not intrusions. They are a reminder that the peace of the villa is part of something greater. The silence here is linked to the silence elsewhere, a harmony of countless resting lives. The household within the empire, you glance back at the villa. Its lamps are dim, its inhabitants sleeping deeply. And yet, you feel the threads that connect it outward, to Rome, to the provinces, to the far edges of the known world. This household is but one note in the great song of empire. The echoes of Rome do not disturb the sleep within these walls. Instead, they cradle it, assure it, give it meaning. Without the world beyond, the villa would be an island. With it, the villa becomes part of a vast, unbroken whole. The quiet majesty of night standing here, you sense the immensity of the moment. An empire that stretches across continents is resting now. Roads, rivers, cities, seas, all subdued in the calm of night. The stars overhead seem to lean closer, as though to watch over this great expanse of slumber. The echoes remind you that life is never still, but it can be quiet. And in that quiet there is majesty. Returning inside at last, you turn back toward the villa's entrance. The faintest night wind brushes against the olive trees, carrying with it the softest suggestion of Rome's endless voice. You leave it at the threshold, stepping back into the inner silence. The villa accepts you again, calm and unbroken. The echoes remain outside, and yet they are part of the dream now, folded into the hush that cradles every life within these walls. The villa is silent now. Every chamber has been visited, every lamp has dimmed, every voice has quieted into the embrace of sleep. The night has grown deeper, its stillness absolute. Even the faintest sounds, the rustle of the trees, the hush of footsteps imagined on distant roads, seem to have withdrawn, leaving only silence. You stand once more at the center of the atrium. The pool lies dark, reflecting only fragments of starlight. The air is cool, carrying the faintest scent of stone, oil, and lingering smoke. The household sleeps, the empire sleeps, and soon, you two will drift away. The hearth's final glow, somewhere in the kitchen, a single ember glows. It is the last trace of the day's fire, the final heartbeat of labor. It offers no light for work, no warmth for cooking. It glows only to mark the passage into stillness, to remind the villa that even flames must rest. Like that ember, you two are ready to surrender your glow, letting it fade into rest, not extinguished, but preserved in gentle warmth. The whisper of dreams as you linger in the silence, you imagine the dreams that fill this household. The master of the villa, perhaps, dreams of affairs in the Senate or journeys across distant provinces. Children dream of games in the garden, of running barefoot on the mosaics. Servants dream of freedom, of loved ones, of simple joys. Each dream floats softly like a lantern set adrift on water. Together, they form a silent procession of lights, rising and fading in the stillness of the villa's night. The weight of the night is no longer simply a time of darkness. It has become a living presence. It covers the villa like a cloak, tender and protective. Its silence is not emptiness but fullness, rich with the unseen rhythm of slumber. You feel it pressing gently against your skin, a reminder to let go, to release the weight of wakefulness and sink into the embrace of the quiet. The empire at rest beyond these walls, the empire still stretches vast and endless. Yet in this hour, its grandeur is softened. Roads are empty, soldiers slumber, cities breathe in hushed tones. It is not conquest, not ambition, not noise that binds Rome together now. It is sleep, the universal pause, the silent agreement of all lives to rest together beneath the same stars. This villa is but one thread in that tapestry. You are but one breath within that stillness. And yet, it feels complete. A guided descent, allow your breath to steady. Let it fall into the same rhythm that guides the villa tonight, slow, calm, unbroken. Inhale as though you are drawing in the cool night air of the garden. Exhale as though you are releasing all the weight of the day into the silence of the atrium. With every breath, the villa grows softer. The stone fades into shadow, the echoes of Rome dissolve. The last embers dim. You are no longer simply observing this household. You are part of its rest. The stars above the roof terrace lies far above, its view filled with the glittering constellations. Though you are not there now, you can feel their presence. The stars are the villa's silent guardians, ancient and eternal, watching over every dream within these walls. They shine for you too. Their glow invites you to join the household, to close your eyes and surrender to the great rhythm of the cosmos, quiet, vast, and eternal. The closing of the night, the journey through the villa is complete. You have walked its halls, touched its stone, listened to its voices. Now, all that remains is silence. You may linger here as long as you wish, resting in the hush of marble and shadow. The villa will not stir until dawn, and you are safe within its walls. The drift into sleep, close your eyes. Let the night carry you. Feel yourself sinking gently, as though into the softest couch, into layers of quiet, into warmth and peace. The villa's silence surrounds you, embraces you. You are no longer separate from it. You are part of its night, part of its stillness. Let go now. Drift as the villa drifts. Dream as the household dreams. Rest as Rome itself rests. The eternal lullaby, in the heart of silence, there is no time. Only the rhythm of breath, the glow of starlight, the softness of slumber. The villa becomes a cradle, the empire becomes a lullaby, and you, gentle listener, are carried into sleep. The night is yours. Sleep deeply. Sleep peacefully. Sleep as though Rome itself were watching over you.